Well, how's it going, everybody? Again, Jeff Slakey here, and it's time for our Sheriff Sit Down, presented by our great friends at Our Community Credit Union with Mason County Sheriff Ryan Sperling. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Jeff?
My God, outside here as we're recording in Hoodsport, we're in the middle of the day, but it looks like sunset with all the smoke from these fires. You guys in the Sheriff's Office have been very busy in this last few days. It really seems to have exploded up there in the terms of the burnt acreage and the changing conditions. Just before we sat down to record, the Sheriff's Office changed the level 1 evacuation order in the Dry Creek, Cushman Ridge area to a level 2 order. So tell us what that means.
Well, it's ready, set, go. Ready being level 1, set level 2, and immediate evacuation level 3. And we're just at the set position, which is that number 2 position, which means if you're in that area, you need to be ready to move immediately.
So the ready was kind of think about where your documents are, maybe get ready, look for the backpack that you want to fill up. This one, the backpack's in the car. The gas is in the tank, and you're kind of just waiting now to see what happens. How many homes or what kind of residential is up there? Is that kind of the main focus on this?
Yeah, we have some cabins, and of course, it's some pretty steep terrain up there. There are quite a few cabins that you can only access by boat. Along that Cushman Ridge. So we actually went up there in the last couple days, and we went by every residence we could get to make sure it was posted, make sure people know what level of evacuation we were at. Up in the Dry Creek area as well, we did the same thing, and we took a couple different people up into the water to see close to the fire what the air operations were. We actually shut down Lake Cushman so that the air operations could go. And we anticipate that may be a few more days, and then maybe we can open up the south end of the lake. But we're kind of going off of what the firefighters are saying they need to have the best effect on the fire.
We're weeks into this Bear Gulch fire specifically. There's 3 others that are else in the county, but once again, we're weeks into this, and teams have cycled out, and we're into a new set of crew that has come up. You may have seen, when I was coming up here, I saw all the tents now at the Port of Shelton. There, and I saw you were doing a kind of a briefing online about this as well. Yeah,
this is on federal land. You know, you got U.S. Forest Service, you've got the federal park up there, the national park, and you've got Tacoma Power, and you've got the tribe that has some interest in these areas as well, and you've got local fire department up there, you have in the sheriff's office. So there's a lot of entities that come together, but we have what's called I believe it's a level 2 team that just came in last night of 85 people that will run that from the federal government. The previous 2 teams, and they do 2 weeks at a time, I think, were level 3 state type teams. So this has gotten bigger, and because of the other fires, they've kind of rolled them all into one big operation. We're so grateful to have them in the area. When I've been to the briefings, it's very impressive what they brief on and how they do things and what they've done so far to prevent it from getting to structures.
As of this recording here, the Bear Gulch fire is at just under 4,000 acres, which was a big increase from just a couple days ago. The Hama fire was at 66, and then additionally, we're looking at the Browns Creek fire around 12 acres, and the most current fire was that Vance Trestle fire, which is about 2 acres. So not only is this stretching all of the fire resources in the county thin, but it's, I'm sure, stretching the sheriff's office thin as well.
Absolutely. To have our resources, we have our public information officer up there, because this is something that local people, when a federal team comes in, they don't know the local entities. Right. And so if they have to fill out a form to try to get the tribe to approve to shut down the boat launch that the Skokomish tribe controls, whereas we just call. Because we know them. And we just call the Lake Cushman Management Company and say, hey, can you help us out with this, instead of having to go through channels, because they don't know those people. So we partner together to make sure our community is serviced the best that we can, using the federal resources, but also the knowledge of the individuals who control things within our county.
How does, and the reports are that these, at least this one and the Hama fire and the Browns Creek are human caused. So explain to me a little about what either DNR does or how the fire crews in conjunction with you look into figuring out how to penalize someone or find the people involved with this. I heard stories about the Columbia River fire from many years ago, a couple years ago, right, where they found the person who did it. They were able to do an investigation, and now the family is having to pay a restitution. Monthly they have to do this. This is a huge strain not only on resources personnel-wise, but financial resources as well. The state and the county already are strapped thin.
Not to mention people can't use the area of Lake Cushman.
Yeah,
they can't go to Staircase. Vacations that were planned or trips that were planned.
Impacting the tourism, the restaurants. I mean, it's a whole ripple.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a combination of multiple things. Obviously, you have people that are trained on how to investigate fires in the origin or the start of that fire, arson investigators, that type of thing. We are the ones at the sheriff's office that are able to charge criminally for reckless burning or reckless endangerment through activities. Now, we do believe that these were all human started, but we don't have any indication that they were intentionally started at this point.
Okay.
And so they would be more accidental. We believe there may be fireworks involved or shooting of firearms, where you get a ricochet. So with that in mind, I'd like to remind people, don't go out and go shooting right now when it's so dry.
Yeah.
I was in the military for a lot of years, and we would go to Yakima Firing Center, and we'd start fires all the time because you'd be shooting on the ranges, and one ricochet will cause a spark. And if it's real dry, it'll go. So please don't be doing that right now. And obviously fireworks, especially illegal fireworks, are a big concern for us.
They even talk about even nowadays in this weather conditions, don't even mow your lawn after a certain, 10 in the morning. Don't even go out and do that because that could kick up a spark as well.
Yeah, especially if you have like the big tractor and you're mowing with a brush hog. Those things will hit those rocks, and they're hitting it so hard it's sparking. And just like a chainsaw, or some of the ORVs have spark arresters, the motorcycles. So when they're out in the woods, they have a spark arrestor that prevents them from starting a fire.
What's it look like up there?
It looks like nighttime. When we were up there just yesterday, the clouds and the smoke, when the wind shifted and it blew it back on the lake, we sent some pictures out. It was just this orange, ominous thing. And Mother Nature has a tremendous power. I mean, those fires, people don't understand the power of trees just exploding into flames and burning that fuel. And it's on such a steep hillside right now. It's really tough to manage for these teams.
Additionally, too, they're still working through areas that have not fully recovered from the 06 Bear Gulch fire, which caused, I think, initially, too, a big hindrance in being able to effectively fight this thing.
Well, this is on such steep angles.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can really do. It's not like a crew can get up on this grade and create a fire break, or they really even struggle to dump water on it because it's so steep the aircraft can't get close to it.
Yeah, coming in from the water, grabbing the drops and getting it back up. I think from lake level up to the top 3,500 feet, and it doesn't take a long time to get up there. Super steep.
Yeah.
Let's move into some other things that are going on in the sheriff's office. I see a lot of posts that you guys make about new people coming in, new employees for the sheriff's office. Promotions have been happening. There's been some other changes with that. Let's start kind of high level. This week I was at the county commission meeting, and Undersheriff Adams has been in the interim acting role of county administrator.
Yes.
But he has
he
moved
actually
over
applied
full on.
for it when the opening was posted. I think there were 6 other candidates, and he ultimately was selected as the new county administrator. And so he has effectively retired from the sheriff's office, and now he's a civilian.
Persona non grata. I remember you when.
Oh, no. Well, I think the county will benefit. Travis is such a smart big picture guy and
Yeah.
a great leader. He will do a fantastic job, and everybody in the county will benefit from him being over there.
What is it like then to have someone who knows the inner workings of the sheriff's office able to really be there and help support and explain even more of what's going on there?
You know, he's been involved as an undersheriff for 7 years.
Yeah.
So he works with the county, he works with the Board of County Commissioners and the other elected officials and the other department heads. And he said the biggest shock to him going over there as interim and now obviously full-time is how little other departments know what we do. And he says,
Really?
even though we're part of the county and they're
Yeah.
part of the county, they have no idea what we do.
Wow.
He says, we're terrible at advertising how much work we actually do. So him having that background is going to be very big to us. Plus, at this point, he can coach and mentor the sheriff's office to do a better job. And it's all about serving our community
Yeah.
as a team. And the better and the more the offices within the county work together, the better the citizens benefit.
And the Deputy Dracobly?
He was chief criminal deputy.
Yeah.
Deputy.
So he had stepped up into that interim role, filling in Travis's spot, but now he's going to be the undersheriff?
I just promoted him to undersheriff officially as of today, August 1st. So he is now our new undersheriff. He has 35 years of law enforcement experience. He's been in effectively every position of leadership all the way up the chain of command. He's very smart. He's been doing it a long time. He will do a great job. He's late in his career, though, so he said he's only got about a year and a half. And he says, I'll be there while you can train up the next person as well and finish out.
What does an undersheriff do?
You know, the undersheriff effectively runs the agency at our house, so to speak. You won't see the undersheriff out at scenes very often.
Right.
You won't see them coming out in the middle of the night doing these, because they run everything in the background. When I'm out in the community, he's back at the office. He interacts with the other offices. He interacts with the commissioners. He does a lot of the briefing, and he oversees the chiefs. We have a chief of the jail.
Yeah.
So the chief of the jail runs the jail operations. We have a chief of patrol that runs a patrol division and the detectives. And we have a civil chief that handles all of our civil stuff. The undersheriff is the direct supervisor of those three chiefs. And those chiefs usually are looking out for the interest of their division. And sometimes they're short-sighted on how it affects the other divisions. The undersheriff's job is to give that holistic approach and say, wait a minute, how does it affect the other division if you want this, or we want to move that direction? So he brings that unity together, and then he advises me on a lot of that stuff. And when I'm out doing other things, he's running the house.
And very beneficial then for Jason to have been in almost every position there in the sheriff's department.
Absolutely. That big knowledge base is huge,
Yeah.
and he's really financially savvy. One of the things the undersheriff does is he oversees with our financial manager the finances, so that we land that plane at the end of the year, and we use our finances wisely.
That's an interesting thing again to bring up when it comes to the sheriff's office. They have their own. I mean, you're an elected official. You have your own portion of the budget that kind of is encompassed by the whole county government, but you have your own pile of money there that you have to work through and figure out what works best for the office and protecting the 60,000 plus people that are here in the county.
Yeah, there's checks and balances within county government and balances of power. So the county commissioners determine our budget. And then once they give us our budget, we have a double bottom line. So we have operations and wages and benefits. So we have basically two budgets that they provide to us. Then once they give it to us, it's ours to do what we feel is necessary. The one thing, we have about $19 million budget, which isn't very big. You look at the fire departments and they're so much larger.
Right.
Yet we get so many more calls for service, maybe not as long at a call for service that they do. But so the tax structure is a little different. But we get that money, and we, out of the 19 million, almost, I would say all but about $400,000 or $500,000 is already obligated. So I maybe have $400,000 to $500,000 worth of operational discretionary money for new equipment, for new software, for other things. But everything else is spoken for. Our, dispatch. We pay a large portion of MASCOM's funds because we're
Sure.
the largest user of
Yeah.
it. We have our RMS or Spillman, our records management system, and our CAD systems, and we have to pay for those every year. We have wages and benefits, which is a huge portion of any budget.
Yeah. Other promotions that you want to share?
Yes, we because Criminal Chief Deputy Dracobly is now Undersheriff Dracobly, we had to promote a new Chief Criminal Deputy, and that was former Detective Sergeant Jeff Rhodes is now our Chief Criminal Deputy.
Oh, yeah.
And then the former Corporal, Michael Sargent, who was Corporal Sergeant in the detectives, is now Sergeant. So it's easier to remember.
Oh, my gosh.
And then we also had another promotion of a new corporal within detectives.
And then to a new K9?
Oh, yes. We did some research, and we're thinking outside the box, and we ruffled some feathers because we're not doing it the traditional way. Big concern, the largest lawsuits against counties right now is overdoses and suicides in jails. That's one of our biggest lawsuits through county risk pools.
Huh.
And no matter what we do, it seems like they come up with a clever way of getting drugs into the jails.
Yeah.
We have a scanner that we purchased through a grant, but now legislation was passed saying that it causes too much radiation exposure on repeat offenders, so we have to turn the scanner down to where it's almost ineffective.
Are these like
body scanners?
TSA scanners?
Yes, that type of thing, because people will smuggle in drugs in body cavities.
You can use your imagination on that.
We have to use the scanners to discover that. And they've passed legislation to prevent this, if repeat offenders from being exposed to too much, which I understand, but that makes it almost ineffective. So what we've done at this point is we've taken a traditionally what's the best way to say it? Traditionally, just a secretary type position, and we've made it a handler of a contraband sniffing dog, which is not a traditional police canine at all. And it's almost like a contracted in tool that we use. And this contraband dog is going to go into cells when there's no people there and sniff. If they indicate on something, then we'll bring in the commissioned officers. But we had to get something done as soon as possible to limit some of the liability. And those dogs are incredible, what they can find. We walk into a room and we smell spaghetti. They walk into a room and they smell every ingredient in the spaghetti. It's just incredible what they cue on, and we're excited to be able to offer that. We also have a drug dog out in the community that we've trained up that sniffs fentanyl and other drugs that's certified as a police canine. So we have both a non-certified non-police canine and a police canine handled by a deputy out on the streets.
I was going to ask about the fentanyl part of it, so they can identify that.
Yep.
And
they can go into schools, they can go into any place, public places, that type of thing.
Wow. Huh. And again, the lawsuits coming are more of the families of the people who overdosed, who felt that under your supervision, not your specific, but the jail's operations.
Yeah, now we haven't been sued on
Right.
an overdose. We've been fortunate that we have had a couple overdoses, but we were able to revive them with Narcan and get them medical aid, and they survived. There a lot of other jails throughout the state and prisons throughout the state have not been as successful with that, and they've had deaths, quite a few deaths.
And that's what the families. I'm assuming it's families that are putting forth these lawsuits. That in your care, you should be taken care of. Online reporting. That's something we've talked about here for the last couple months, that it had been getting on board and people are able to put these in. Not necessarily major crimes that are happening, but if you see a lawnmower that's missing or things like that, how's that?
Yeah, absolutely. If a crime is not in progress and you have no suspect information, you can go to our website, and as soon as you under the county and you look under departments and you hook the sheriff's office, up in the upper left-hand corner, it's online reporting right there.
Yeah.
And you can go onto there, you can fill out the information. Again, if there's no suspect and it's not in progress, because if those things are occurring, you need to call the non-emergency or the 911 line. And then you will have somebody process it much faster, because as we've said so many times, we're running anywhere from 60 to 150 calls for service a day over 1,000 square miles with 5 or 6 people. So it may be hours. If you had something stolen from your house over the night and you don't know who did it and it's gone and you want to report it to your insurance, you may be sitting at home and having to get off of work to sit there waiting for a deputy for 4 hours because they're covering in-progress calls first. Whereas now you can go online, get the information you need for insurance purposes, and provide all the information that you can so that we can start looking at patterns and getting ahead of the game.
Tell me a little bit about the next couple of months in the sheriff's office. Any more partnerships that you have coming on board, how you're getting out and explaining. Like we talked about, maybe you have to do a little better job explaining within the county what's going on in the sheriff's office, but getting out and just seeing people. I saw you at the Bite of Shelton. These are always great events.
Yeah, I try to make it to a lot of the events. I mean, we had the Fjord Crossing, we had the Bite of Shelton, we had Allen Days, we had the Great View Water Festival last week. We have, the Hoodstock coming up.
Hoodstock,
there's
Oyster Fest before you know it.
Yes, Oyster Fest is in October. Those are always great community events, and we try to make it out to those and be visible. And the community really responds positively with that, especially like Oyster Fest. We're going to have a pretty good presence at Oyster Fest because that's a major event.
Yeah.
It's one of the largest shellfish festivals in the world, and especially on the West Coast. And we want to make sure people are safe. They get a chance to interact and ask questions. We're also, you were talking about other partnerships or new things. With what former Undersheriff Adams has told us, we're going to move towards doing a bi-monthly briefing to the commissioners and to the rest of the county on some of the things we're up to, just to share that information and do a better job of communicating what we're doing so that the different entities can work together better.
Does that help too, then, if you're talking with folks in county government and then it just kind of starts spreading out, that more and more people hear that, oh, now there is that new drug dog in the jails, or now there is a kind of a new promotion structure here where there's some new people that are running the different departments. How does that help the overall outreach mission of the sheriff's office?
I think it helps it greatly. You know, and this is totally me talking for a second here. My speculation is we are a society that has instant gratification when it comes to information.
Yeah.
And without that information, we fill in the blank with something else.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how rumors get started. That's how miscommunication happens. So we want to do a better job of communicating what's going on so that there isn't a need to fill in the blank with speculation or with a rumor that somebody had said, and it's just better business.
Yeah, getting that.
It's marketing, right?
Getting it out there as soon as you can, so you can, like fill in those blanks, because people they'll just kind of, well, I heard this or that, and 9 times out of 10, it's completely erroneous information that is not at all accurate.
Yeah, and it's super important to me to be out in the community to be able to answer questions, because I think that's the job of an elected official as well.
New school year will be here before you know it. What's going on with DARE?
DARE, we got our second DARE officer trained up.
Oh my, that's cool.
Nicholas Monteo, who speaks Concabal in Spanish.
Oh, that's
so he's
wonderful.
going to be probably starting off in the North Mason schools or other schools. We have 13 different 5th grade classes, so our goal is to eventually get all of them.
Yeah.
But we're going to start. So we'll have 2 DARE officers this year, and we're also going to do something a little different. We're in the process of moving this way anyway, of looking at our corrections deputies to help with DARE as well and get out of the jail and get involved in the community. Because oftentimes they're kind of cubby-holed in the jail and they don't get to do these type of things that interact with the community as much. So that's one of the things that we're moving towards.
Yeah. I talked to old friend of the station, Caleb, right? And I go, man, you need to get out there and be part of the parades and things like that.
Yes.
Just because, people don't... They're not walking into the jail on a daily basis to see how things are going. It's a whole nother.
It's a world. It's its own city.
Yeah, it really is.
It operates 24/7. You know, you've got all the people to feed, their clothes to laundry.
Yeah.
You have to give them mental health support. You have to give them doctor or medical support. You have to give them exercise. You have to give them access to religious services and entertainment and other things. So there's a whole entity of rules and regulations around jails and prisons.
And I remember over the years, and I'm sure it's still true, but like finding people to come work specifically in the jail is difficult.
We still struggle with that, and we're 9 positions down in our jail right now.
Yeah, so getting folks out there to explain what they do and demystify it a little bit, probably
Absolutely.
a good idea.
The nice thing about the jail, which a lot of people don't understand, is the patrol deputies will deal with people when they're in crisis, whether it be a mental health crisis or under the influence of something, where, you know, a good majority of the people that we arrest, those are the circumstances. So we see them during those crisis times, and we drop them off at the jail. Now, the jail is some of the few law enforcement that gets to see them when they've detoxed or when they're out of that crisis and get to know them as a human being and as a person and interact with them. And the influence that our jailers have to be able to help and support and try to prevent these people from going back to that life when they get out is big. And it's pretty rewarding for a lot of you talk to these jailers, and they're just amazed at what they're able to do in people's lives.
Oh, that's great.
You know, it's not always successful, obviously.
Right, but, you know, it's a good voice to chat with and to have somebody there that's listening, and you build that rapport over a day, a week, a month, whatever, however long they're there. Mason County Sheriff Ryan Sperling, I do appreciate these conversations always, and all the updates the Sheriff's Office has been putting out on these fires. It's a continually changing situation, and so always check in on masoncountywa.gov. Also follow the Sheriff's Office on Facebook, and for Bear Gulch specifically, Bear Gulch is on Facebook too there. Bear Gulch 2025 is the name of that page.
And Mason County All Hazards, our DEM page.
Yeah, and they usually get updates right around 10 or 11 every day with new numbers and new efforts that are happening there. So I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff, you're everywhere. You talk about me being everywhere. You're all over the community. You know the community well, and I appreciate all you do.
Well, thank you so much.